Hey, it's Ellis Dawson, co-writer, co-creator, co-showrunner, co-director, soul photographer.
Oh, goodness sake. Wait. Hold on, let me just bring
No, but give him his props.
For the boys, and we are here today with the boys.
Hello.
Andrew Coleman, Chandler Bryant, Lamont Walker. Hey, y'all.
Hi.
Okay, Charlie's Angels, tease.
Okay. Now with the drink.
Yes, this is the season finale of the show. It's been a long time coming. We're here. It's a crazy ride. It's a really crazy ride for some more than others. So let's get into this episode a little bit. So we start the episode with Saeed in one of his little rendezvous. At this point, it's like old hat. We're used to seeing the mini gentleman caller. Wow, I can't.
Couldn't even get the word out.
Let me go ahead and.
Wait.
You could have just said drink every time.
Gentlemen callers.
Right. That's a drinking game.
And it's revealed shortly after the hookup that this man is DL. And Makai and I spoke extensively about how to do this. And one thing that I think is really great about Makai and myself is that we're not interested in good or bad. We are interested in the truth. We don't believe in good and bad. And when we see DL men depicted, they're either romanticized or villainized. And neither one of those things interest me at all. I want their humanity, and I speak for Makai as well. Humanity is important. And so, with that being said, what is going through Saeed's head as he discovers so nonchalantly that this man is DL? He's just kind of he's like, oh my girl, blah 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 blah. And you're like, whoa, what's going on?
Saeed's at the bottom of the rock. He is at the bottom, and it's not only has he feels so alone, but he's now feeling deceived. He's feeling like he's not the kind of person. If their Saeed ain't nothing, he gonna tell the truth now. He might speak it at the wrong time, but he gonna tell the truth. He ain't gonna hide. He is who he is, and I think that it really sucked for him. I don't think he expected that. I don't think he wanted to be put in that position. What if somebody comes in? I think it's just it's a bad place for him. It really feels like rock bottom for him at this point. He's like, on top of all the other shit that I'm going through, I'm here with your line ass.
He literally says, "Why would you put me in this?" Like in the scene. That's crazy.
Yeah. I think that I think the shock value. It's almost chilling at how nonchalant this man is. Like, oh yeah, this is my girl. Anyway, and then he even says something to the effect of like, "Isn't that what y'all like this?" or something like that. And I think there's this like weird notion that gay men love, especially gay black men, love this idea of this like hyper masculine man that lives this double life. Yeah, that's a slippery slope to dive down. I also think the humanity comes in is like, I think he also says like, I'm doing what I need to, like I'm doing what I need to do or something like that. I also just want to bring into the space that for some people who are DL or living this life, and not necessarily living a double life, but go by DL, it's like a survival tactic. What this man is doing is something different altogether. But there are some men, unfortunately, who are not in a space emotionally, literally, like their surroundings where they can come out. So they decide to hide. But it seems like with this guy, it might be a mixture of the two.
Yeah, and and we're not villainizing DL men, because you got to do what you got to do for you. But this man did not tell Saeed before he walked into that situation. He put Saeed in an uncomfortable situation. Had they had the conversation and then Saeed chose to be in that space with him, that's one thing. But lying and not being forthcoming about your whole situation, that's something different. And you gotta live your truth. Even if your truth is, I'm DL, I don't show my face, whatever, and somebody chooses to be down for that, okay, like that's the two person's choices. But you gotta be open. We gotta be open and honest with each other, and it's just not fair. And you're right. It's something that is stereotypical, that we as gay people, we as queer people love DL men, and that's not really the case. Oftentimes, ain't nobody trying to deal with all of that
It's a
baggage.
lot.
Why would you not want to? There is that side though. There is that side though that finds the danger
thrills
of
and the
that,
danger
like
of it,
very
right.
thrilling. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
are you telling me that dating a openly gay man ain't dangerous in and of itself?
Woo, child.
Ooh. Wait a minute now. I think that both.
Okay.
Wait a minute now. Wait. Y'all not about to get me caught up on smoke sesh now. Wait. Let's just. What you got?
Okay.
got?
So then we have this moment, and then we talk about a lot how New York is a character, and this is one of the funnier moments where New York is a character. We have Anthony bumping, personally one of my favorite songs, Alicia Myers, I Want to Thank You, which is kind of a nod to the documentary Kiki, and when gay marriage was legalized, you have, oh my gosh, he is the father of the house of something or other, and someone else, I cannot remember, I'm so sorry I can't remember.
Dang.
But
Right
they're
now,
singing,
edit
well,
that
yeah. They were singing that song, and I was like, we gotta put this in. So Anthony's walking down the street, and then you hear people like, shut the fuck up! I think that's so funny because that is quite literally happened to me in real life. I was singing very loudly down the street, and someone was like, shut up! And I was like, okay.
Oh my god.
Whatever.
I'm gonna continue in my head.
Right.
So, thanks.
Yeah,
Oh my
so
God.
then they meet, Saeed and Anthony meet, and there's talk about going to this exhibit that Jamal told them that he was in episode 7, and Saeed basically says he's not going. And they go to the park, and then they run into one of Saeed's old flings who, like, was there at the beginning of the demise of Saeed, and was kind of like the little piece of snow that turned into the avalanche.
Yep, absolutely.
We see this character that actually only comes up once, but his presence kind of
God.
lingers
Lives with him.
throughout the episode.
Yeah.
So you want to talk about that a little
The
bit?
closure ain't pretty. I'll tell you that.
Oh.
Yeah, I think again that like rock bottom. I think this episode you're really seeing Saeed at his lowest point, and I think that Saeed hoped naively that he could just kind of deal with it and move forward and face no repercussions. And life is not like that.
Right.
Sometimes you wake up to the fact that something might be real for you. I think about Jasmine Sullivan's Lost Ones, right? Like,
right.
sometimes you wake up to the fact that, damn, I lost a good one, and maybe I can get it back. And they're like, I've moved on.
To add
Right.
insult to injury,
And be well.
the boyfriend shows up.
Is
Hey,
there.
boyfriend,
Yikes.
is there.
Oh my
And then
God.
you're also, and it's not a jealousy thing. I have this thing where I believe personally that we cannot control how we feel. We can control how we react to our feelings.
Yeah.
right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
So also, and I know there's not much dialogue amongst this, but Anthony talks about again this beautiful relationship. He's going on a cruise with his
Puerto
man.
Rico.
You know, and Saeed is hearing all of this. Meanwhile, he just had this really terrible encounter with this man, and then runs into Christian. So, like, what is going on through Saeed's head in this moment?
I think that
trying to be supportive of his friend in this moment.
I think that what you're seeing throughout the season is Saeed trying to be happy for his friends and all of their success, but feeling like shit because he is not at the same place in life that they are.
Right.
Yeah.
And feeling inadequate.
Been there.
Okay.
Been there.
I mean,
Yeah.
we all like
it's
that.
real.
Yeah.
It's very real.
It's hard to watch. It's a beautiful kind of weird thing to watch your friends be successful,
Yeah.
to like move on, think about the world opening back up,
Mhm.
and like Broadway shows opening back up, and people having jobs to go back to, and you feeling like I'm still in the motherfucking pandemic.
Right.
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 Yeah, and I think there's a duality and there's nuance in like when you and I went, of course, and I definitely feel that way. But there are moments where it's like, I want that as well.
Yeah.
Like, why I'm so close, but I'm not there, and it's nothing against you
It's not-
Right.
by any means. It's all me.
Inner battle.
It's all me. But yeah, I think that's another thing that Makai and I
Beautiful.
grow,
complicated.
and yeah, it's complicated. It's complicated
Yeah,
to see your
definitely.
friends rise and you're stuck at the same level, and you
Also,
want to be happy
yeah.
for them.
I have a question. How is it playing these characters who have to, y'all know Saeed's life ain't the greatest, but having to have all of this success in your relationship, in your work, and see your friend struggle?
I think you should go first.
It's kind of like, because you don't want to be that friend that's like, okay, well, do you need any help? Do you want me to like kind of like throw you a bone? Because you want them to like, you know, feel like they amassed their success on their own.
Right.
But it's also like, damn, like there's just a certain level of like, we're at a certain level and you're just not there. And it hurts. Like it hurts to see your friend kind of like you can see that they want to be at that level, but they're just coming up short each time.
Right.
Yeah, and then like Saeed is a very proud guy.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
so like playing Jamal, it's like you want to like I guess reach out that hand, but like I don't think that would be well received. I think you just Saeed just has to go through it, you know, and come out on the other end. I think Drew, you know, if I was experiencing like just like life thriving or whatever, and I saw that my friend wasn't, I probably wouldn't flaunt it as much as Jamal feels, as comfortable as Jamal feels. Like I'm
jealous.
Yeah, like that.
But then it gets
like,
so
what?
tricky because it's like, damn, I can't share my successes with the bitches that I really love.
Yeah, you should be able to, regardless
should
of
be
what
able
they
to.
I feel like, especially in my life personally, I try to not talk too much about my successes.
Yeah.
Unless I'm with my friends, I'm like, let me tell you about what just happened
right,
today.
right.
And even
who
with
said what.
friends, Ellis don't be talking about his success.
Shut up. Anyway, not about me.
Yeah.
And okay, so then we are at the exhibit and oh my goodness, Jamal is outside and he's freaking out.
Anxious
Anxious
We
as
are
fuck.
seeing so much anxiety the second half.
And then
Oh my
there's
God.
this beautiful callback to episode 1. Devin says they're gonna love this or something like that. That is very similar to Saeed saying, you know how talented you are, they're gonna love that shit. And then Jamal just kind of like says to himself,
I am the shit.
I am the shit, nigga.
Yeah.
And then he pulls out his phone, which we've all done, and he's going to send a voice memo, which like me in real life, y'all know I love a voice memo.
Right.
I love a voice memo.
So
he crafts this beautiful voice memo to send to Saeed, and at the last moment decides to not send it.
Yeah.
What's that about?
I think we saw a little bit of humanity come out, but I think just as quickly Jamal was like, no, this is my night, and I have a boyfriend, and my art is amazing and all this stuff, and I think again he is smelling himself a little too much because like Jamal is likely the person in the duo when they have an issue to be like, hey, I'm sorry, like let's squash it, and this time he decides to go in a different direction, and this is probably the one time where like you probably should have been the one to reach out to, and he did it, and then it blows up in his face, and he doesn't
we're gonna get there.
Ooh.
So then we have this beautiful moment that I described it to Makai. I was like, so this is our Spike Lee moment. We have this moment that is out of context of the show where we actually reached out to Black queer artists in the community. And we wanted to showcase their work. Not only in the show, we ended up doing a true life exhibit that happened the last day of shooting. Amazing. And it's out of context. It's an out of context moment, and then we also have spoken word over it, and you see these Black people standing next to their art, and they're like, "Yeah, I made that shit." It's so beautiful. And then we finally get to see Jamal's work, because the only time we kind of got a hint was Devin's point of view. We see Devin's face, and something looks a little bit off, and he's like, this is a little bit different than anything I've ever seen you do before, you know? And Devin's like, oh my God, I love it. And then we finally see this beautiful art. It's entitled Heavenly Bodies. We finally came up with the title, Heavenly Bodies, and it's depicting African Americans, Black people in the abstract, kind of as gods, right? And all their faces are covered in one way or another. And you see them standing in this power, and it's abstract, and it shows that Black people can be beautiful in the abstract. And Devin looks a little perplexed. So then Devin meets his friends. The names are escaping me right now, but like
me too.
Becky and Brad.
Right. And it works.
Yeah, Becky and Brad.
Becky and Brad.
They do they be white people in.
Mm-hmm.
And Devin has had a few drinks. And Jamal walks up to a moment where Devin is being comfortable and honest with his friends, and he says something that is very hurtful on 2 levels.
Yeah.
It hurts because he lied,
Mm-hmm.
and he said, I loved your work, and he didn't love his work. And it also hurt because he put in question his blackness, and he doesn't have the authority to do that at all. And this goes back to episode 6, where he's like, there are things that you just won't understand.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like sometimes in interracial relationships, I can't speak from experience, but from the people, my friends that have gone through them, there's always this like checks and balance that happens, right? And I feel like Jamal is so smitten with Devin that he never checked him. Because it was like, I mean, in episode 7, he like talks about how he's realized all these things that happen with his family. Like he's woke now. He's like, oh my God, my grandma was talking about the way to cut hair, and I was like, he does it every 2 weeks because it looks fucking good, and this is my black boyfriend, and blah, 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 blah. And then he has this moment, this very human moment where he's like, you know what? I don't understand why he feels the need to prove his blackness or whatever. And he didn't mean it maliciously, but he said what he said.
Yeah.
Right? So...
And not to the person.
And not to the person.
And that is what I was gonna say. Like, you said what you said in front of these people that I don't know.
Right.
In front of these white people that I don't know.
Right.
We could have had a conversation later about it. Like when Jamal comes and says, "So, what do you think? You could have said something else instead of I love it. If you didn't love it, that's okay.
Right.
Ask a question. Like, you know, like that's how I try to, like, when people ask me stuff and I'm not trying to be mean, I always just like, so tell me more about this. Like, I try to just like get more information. Maybe I can understand it more. But for you to just lie and then be honest with your friends, I think I think the most important...
At the exhibit, like,
would it have been different if, I know the whole season we're talking about interracial relationships, but if Devin was a black man and he did the exact same thing, would it have been different?
Yeah, I think I would have I think Jamal would have like taken that to heart a bit more. I think it
same thing though, telling his friends instead of you, saying I don't understand why he has to prove his blackness, but you would have received it differently because he's a black man and not a white man.
I still would have been hurt.
I would have been hurt, but
there,
I don't know that it would have ended the way it did.
Right.
I think it would have been like a huge fight, a huge fight, because like also I don't know if black people should should judge other people's blackness. You know, blackness it's not a monolith. We all just exist and we're all doing our best. But I think there would have been more of a conversation instead of like a fight and a we're done and a wash hands of the situation.
Interesting. And then we go home here, literally here.
Yeah, after that big ass fight.
Yeah, with Anthony and Jamal, and it's kind of like this unraveling because it's less about Devin and it's more about everything that Jamal has not been saying, that he's been carrying with him since day one, but has never spoken of, and it feels like he's like exercising his demons a little bit, and he's saying all of this stuff that's coming out. And I think one of the beautiful things that he talks about is like, you know, Anthony is like, no, you're so fine. He's like, you're supposed to say that, you know? And it's like, and then it's like, you can't talk about yourself like that. And then Jamal says something that's kind of like a pinching out to the community. He's like, I don't. They do.
Yeah.
They do.
Ooh.
Media does. Media tells me that this body that I have is not worthy, right?
Media does. The apps
do. The apps do.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and it's like, I think that was important for Makai and I to depict that it's not this like self-loathing that's in. It's like, no. I believe that I'm great, but everyone has told me that I am not. So because this man has lied to me, everything else must be false. And that happens, you know, when one thing goes wrong, then it like makes you start questioning everything else, and then you start unlayering all of this shit, this spiraling.
No, you go.
No, I was just gonna say, we all, Saeed, Anthony, Jamal, all feel that pressure. Anthony does the opposite. He says, fuck it, I'm going to go against it regardless.
But again, we still see those cracks in his armor.
Saeed internalizes it, tries to live in it, tries to become the thing that people want him to. And Jamal decides to be more comfortable with himself, but still fighting. We're all fighting against it in our own weird way. It's a part of, I think, being a queer black man is a hard thing with image, with self, with loving ourselves, with loving the physical self and the emotional self.
Right.
And I think that the way that it's depicted in each of us, the way you guys have written us throughout the season, is just so beautifully there that we all can tap into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think being a queer black man in itself is really, really hard because you never feel, and at least for me, it never feel fully accepted by either community.
Oh my God, it's such a mind fuck.
It really is, because the black people, you feel like they don't accept you. The queer people, you don't really feel like they accept you. Add the layer of like not being super fit, and you just don't feel like you belong. Where's my community? Where's my family? You know what I mean? And I think it all just like comes to a head in this final monologue. It has absolutely happened to me. I've said my own version of this monologue to a friend on the phone before, because it's just like, what the fuck do y'all want from me?
Yeah.
Like, what am I supposed to do? I'm trying my best, like, and then but I think I love that Anthony was there to comfort him, and unfortunately, because of where Jamal and Saeed are at, Saeed's obviously like not there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think yeah, it's one of the harder scenes for me.
I think that had things gone differently, Saeed would have been there, regardless of everything.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
But where he is, how low he is, and the fact that Jamal couldn't be there for him, he had to choose himself,
yeah, and that is a valid choice. Sometimes choosing yourself means like hurting other people, and it sucks, but at the end of the day, everybody out here is doing what's best for them.
And even in choosing yourself, I don't even know if Saeed even knows what that means, because choosing yourself for Saeed means giving myself to somebody else.
Yeah, and I don't even think that Saeed didn't go to, I don't know, but I don't know that Saeed didn't go to the exhibit to hurt Jamal. He's just like, I can't do it. I can't do it. I need to do something else. You know what I mean? It was less about Jamal, more about Saeed.
Yeah, and then leads us to, we see Saeed, and he's walking up to this apartment, and then we see who he's with. And why this person?
You know, they say that the way to get over one man is to get under another. I think that Saeed has tried getting under them all. And the only one that said something even worth anything, other than Christian, who the relationship is now over, is this man. And he goes back to him because he feels validated. He's like looking for anybody to validate him, to affirm him, to tell him that he's good, to tell him that he's beautiful, to tell him that he's worth something. And that's why he goes. That's why he goes. Because his friends aren't telling him that Saeed's construct is, I need to be affirmed. And his best friend is not affirming him. And then his other friend is telling him, you need to be here out of obligation and put all of the other shit aside. And Saeed's not there. He can't do it.
Right. So before we end, I just wanted to take a moment with the three boys. And I can speak for Makai and myself that, like, when we were writing this, we didn't know who these boys were going to be. And y'all have helped us discover them so much more. You have breathed so much life into them in a way that we could have never, ever imagined. Neither one of us are writers by trade. We're both actors who came into this because we love the art of telling stories. We all do, and that's what connected us. And we could not have done this without y'all. And it has truly been an honor to watch our words be embodied by these beast actors who just take it in and just like bring it to levels. We're like, what? It's like, wait.
Yes, I'm a Libra moon.
Wrap the first half.
No. Because like, this is so much bigger than us. And when we were sitting in my bedroom, Jamal's bedroom, this is my home that we filmed in. When Makai and I were writing this like a year and a half ago, we had all these funny ideas, and I was like, oh, could you imagine when we filmed this? But we didn't have faces, and now that y'all are here, we're like, we're just so blessed to have y'all. We're so blessed, and I could not imagine, and I speak for Makai as well, could not imagine 3 other boys doing this. You guys don't understand what you're doing for this community and how I said it in one of the early episodes about the treat thing. This show is a balm. It is a healing space for people, and we tackle things and we talk about things in a way that is fresh and unique, and you guys bring your own personalities to them, and it just blows me away. And I just want to thank you guys so much, and I'm so excited to grow with you guys more. You guys push me to be a better writer, because it's like I be listening to it like, oh, the way they speaking this, I gotta elevate. I have to elevate, and I'm sure Makai feels the same way. And I'm so excited for season 2. Season 2 is gonna be amazing. Makai and I have already started talking about it, of course. Please rewatch all of these episodes. Y'all finally got 1 through 10. We know it took a while, but we got it. And
the episodes are longer now.
Oh, the episodes are longer.
So
They're longer.
DMs cussing
Don't
me
come
out.
for us.
Cuss them out.
Exactly.
I don't write it, so cuss them out.
No. Love you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to such a beautiful season. We could not have done this without you guys. We love you. Till next time. Bye.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
For the boys!